everyone, welcome to your video on shoulder stabilization. And the reason for making this video is it's another thing that I see creeping up in a lot of our classes. Just naturally, a lot of us carry tension every day and we start to develop the habit of pulling the shoulders up towards the ears. And it becomes a habit. And to break any form of habit in your body is extremely difficult and has to become a conscious effort to recorrect all the time. So because we are doing a lot of crunching and forward movements in Pilates, I often see people leading with their shoulders. Um, you want to have your shoulders in their perfect alignment. So you're working your shoulders and muscles in the position that they're supposed to be and not in a lengthened position already. It can cause injuries and even weaknesses, actually, even though you think that you're strengthening. If you're strengthening something in a position where it's not supposed to be, you're causing lengthening and there's none of that flexibility, strength, balance there that we always want. Um, so yeah, it can actually cause more harm than good. And also it's just going to add in more tension. So if you tense already and you're exercising in this position, you're going to land up leaving the class feeling more tense in the neck and shoulders. So let's just get into that. With the shoulder, there's two placements of the shoulder. If you take your arms forward, there's a protraction where the shoulders are pushed forward out of their sockets, and there's a retraction. Okay, you always want your shoulders to be in a retracted position unless I say protract and retract. So push away, push forward. Maybe in a cat cow, for example, you get that protraction and you get that retraction. But in general, in any kind of other exercise, you always want the shoulders to be in that retracted position unless I specify to push away. So by pulling the shoulders back, retracting, we're creating a nice, beautiful posture of having a nice open chest. But when I ask people to do this, I see a lot of people squeezing the shoulder blades back, throwing the rib cage out, and now we've got other problems. Now I've got tension into the top of my back, my rib cage has thrown open, my lower back has arched. How do I find imprint here? How do I find the closing of the rib cage? And how do I get rid of the tension in my neck? So it's not squeezing. It's just simply taking the shoulders out of that bad hunched over position and correcting it to pull them back. It should feel comfortable. It shouldn't feel like you're, oh my goodness, I've got to squeeze these muscles now and think about everything else. It's just opening up the chest. Then when they're in that position, a lot of the time when people do pull the shoulders back, just because we've got this neck tension, the shoulders creep up slightly. So the retraction is sliding the shoulder blades down. I want you to think, instead of as you move the shoulders back like that, you're not going up into your neck, but you're rather taking them down and then sliding them down your back into little pockets. So you're visualizing that you have two little pockets at the lower part of your back. And coming from a hunched over position, you're going to retract the shoulders and then slide those shoulder blades down into their pockets. And that's your shoulder placement. But now the problem comes in is when we start to do exercises, especially all of our C-curves and that. Your body wants to find any kind of compensation to help you along. And by pulling our posture forward, we think it's going to help us, but it's not. So just be aware of it throughout all your exercises. If you're feeling your neck, check your shoulders. Are your shoulders relaxed? Are they pulled back and down? Just a little example. When you're lying down on the mat, I often see people's shoulders creeping up here. So they rock onto the back of the head. Their shoulders are pulled forward and down, and there's this horrible little gap here creating all this tension in your neck here. You never want to have that there. So I have quite rounded shoulders naturally, and if I lie down, I've got quite a big gap here between my shoulder blade and the mat. So I need to make that conscious effort of rolling my shoulders back, opening them up, but not squeezing, just opening and sliding them down. and all of a sudden the back of my shoulder is touching the mat. But now I want to try keep this throughout all my exercises. So when I move into a C curve, I don't round forward and lift up, because now when I go back down, where's my shoulders? I'm pulling out of my shoulders. You're trying to keep that down and think about it. It's a conscious decision to lift up, keep the shoulder blades where they're supposed to be, keep pulling them back and down, and then inhale down and feel that connection of the back of the shoulder, the back of the deltoid touching the mat. So it's exhale up and inhale down. And especially when you go into like a single leg stretches, still try keep that connection. Don't take it into this hunched over rounded position. Yes, we may be in C curve, but are you still focusing on rolling back and down, rolling back and down, finding that core control instead of being rounded in here? Okay, so it's just something that creeps up, and we just want to try have our perfect posture and perfect alignment. So if you're working in a perfect alignment, you're working in a safe range for your body, and that's going to help you get that perfect balance between strength and flexibility. And everyone wants a nice open posture. Okay, so something to bear in mind: feeling your neck. Where are your shoulders? Pull them down away from your ears, slide them back into their pockets, but not so much so that you've thrown out your rib cage and you're holding a lot of tension there. If you do battle with rounded shoulders, you can create a little bit of a brace for yourself. However, I would like you to get into the habit of doing it yourself. But if you may be sitting behind a computer for long periods of time and you do find yourself hunched over, you can make a little brace. So this is a TheraBand, but it's probably better to use like a belt or a yoga strap, or yeah, just a long, like a seat belt strap. Obviously, don't cut the seat belt out of your car. That's not that's not where we're going here. But you're going to make a little brace for yourself. So I want you to place the band behind your back. Oh, wait, let's place it over your neck to start. Sorry. Okay, so you're wearing it like a scarf, right? You're going to take the band, thread it underneath your armpits, and crisscross it at your back. So you've crisscrossed it. Now you're holding the opposite strap in. And then you're going to pull it a little bit tighter, take it to your rib cage, and tie a little knot. Okay. So now what I've created here is a nice little posture support for myself. So when I'm working on my computer, it's reminding me to keep these shoulders back and down away from my ears. It's not forcing. It actually feels uncomfortable if you lift your shoulders up. My shoulders are pulling back and I feel quite secure. So at the back, that's what it looks like. Yeah. So if you do find yourself feeling like, oh my gosh, my posture's getting so bad, my shoulders are getting bad, you can make this little strap. And if your posture is really bad and you're really struggling, you can do your class with this strap on. But would like you to get into the habit of just correcting it yourself. Okay. But if you're finding that, geez, I can never get away from this neck tension, try the strap and see if it helps you. Thank you, and I hope that all of this information helps you create a stronger practice and a more controlled and aware practice of Pilates.